What's up guys, this is Loma, and this is going to be another Ethereum video. It's been about a week or so there's a lot of price action to unpack here. Before we get into it, please subscribe if you haven't already, press the like button, and as always, these videos are sponsored by Binance. Shout out to them. If you don't have an account, go sign up. And now let's get right into it. Alright, so last time we left off, we were actually trading in the 300 area, right? So this area right here, we said that there's a good chance price wicks down and clears this area, but we're betting that the support areas down here holds, which is why we moved our stop loss up to about 360. Okay, so safe to say that this played out very well, and this is just another example of how you can manage your risk as the trade is moving, right? So as a trade develops, you get more technical levels that you can adjust your stop loss to, right? Because a trade is dynamic, right? A trade that you enter right here changes when it's up here, right? Like you wouldn't keep the same stop loss. Like if this were to dump, you would not have the same stop losses down here, right? Like that makes no sense, right? That's basically just, all right, like fuck this technical level, fuck this technical level, fuck this technical level, and at that point you're just kind of, you know, like a Hail Mary, like please hold, hodl till the end, you know. So again, support held, we've pumped, now what? So now price has flipped the first area of interest right here. Biggest sign that it was gonna break out for me was that we touched this area, and yeah, we did have some type of rejection right here, but for the most part we chopped along resistance, right? Which just means that price isn't really respecting resistance in that sense, where resistance is doing a bad job being resistance, right? Because when you look at resistance, ideally you're looking at something that pushes price down, but price technically isn't really being pushed down, right? I mean, you're just chopping here, and this is on a daily candle. So if you shrink this down to like the 1 hour, you'll see what I'm talking about, where price is just up, down, over, under, and it just repeats that for a couple of days, and it consolidates from higher lows to lower highs, right? So now you'll see that we had our breakout last night, and we've retested this level. So this is a very key point. So we retested 450, okay? And I would expect for this to continue upwards. Why? Because we've already claimed this resistance as support, okay? So it took a beating in this area, lots of chop, buyers got, you know, right through the sell, right? We broke through, and now we just tested it as support. And obviously the daily has, you know, quite a bit of time left, so we don't know for sure, but this is looking quite bullish to me. Price being right here, I would not punt a short, right? So I am actually going to be moving my stop loss up below this low, okay? So I'm assuming that this was the low for this move up. So this took the liquidity, we failed to trade under that ever again. I'm willing to put my stop loss below this area. So for the sake of a visual, I'm gonna go ahead and move the stop loss up a little bit, like that. So our stop loss is basically, you know, if price trades down to 420, we wanna give it some room to breathe, but I don't think it will go down here. This is more of a loose trailing stop, right? So if it goes down here, I would expect it to trade all the way back down into this range. So now what happens if you're not in a position, right? Say you sold the highs and you got the fuck out. I don't think it's gonna trade back down here, so I don't think this is, you know, an optimal entry. This is just to visualize the stop loss moving up, okay? And I just can't move the stop loss up without moving the price. But now that that's out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and mark that out. Alright, so marked it out for you guys, stop loss below this area. So I would have it below 420, okay? Reason for that, and this is my personal reason, I actually haven't looked into the statistics, but if you just look on order books, it kind of validates it, right? You can do the eyeball test for this because it's that obvious. But people tend to put their orders in like whole numbers, right? So like 420, 425, 430, whatever. So there is some type of psychological support, psychological resistance at whole numbers. I tend to put mine, like if it's 420, maybe I'll do like 414, 28, like some number that's below a whole number, just because they do tend to have the thicker orders to, potentially eat any stop hunts. So if that's the case, you sold the highs, I would look to enter actually right here. I think this is a great entry. I think this is the dip. And the reason for that is that we're retesting support, right? We just broke through this, multiple taps into this resistance, flipped it, and this is a support test. It might not be the prettiest, most bullish looking candle from before, but this is still a test. And in a bull market, you take what people give you, right? Like, yeah, I guess this could be a fatter candle. This could be bought up a little bit more aggressively, right? But hey, if the market's willing to give you this, maybe not like a godly entry at like 440 or something, you take it. You absolutely take entries like this. They are clearly risk defined, right? You have an area where you could be like, hey, it broke down this level, that looks like weakness, I think it's going to go down more, and you can set your stop loss there. That's what I look for when I'm entering trades. Can you define risk, right? Can you find an area where you can define, all right, this is a reasonable area for me to put a stop loss that's not too far from my entry, right? Because some people have some wide ass stops, and I'm not sure how you really manage those, right? It seems more like a hold and pray type of thing with like a stop loss in case it omega nukes. But yeah, so the setup, if you're not already in, would look something like this, right? So you long spot, maybe you can add more if it retaps 450 or so, but I'm still looking for the weekly resistance, which was the bounce area from the 2017 dump. Okay, I would place my stop, the usual below here, and obviously if we make a break up, you have more technical levels to move your stop loss too. But something like this, right, is what I'm looking at here. I expect price to kind of, just chop a little bit the next couple of days. And then once we break 500, I think we start accelerating, right? So when I say accelerating, what I'm talking about is when price moves violently through a certain area, okay? As in it picks up steam and it moves quicker as it generates momentum to the upside or the downside, but in this case we're talking to the upside. And if you look on the 3-day, it's just pretty much this gap right here, right? It's literally just air before we hit this upper area right here with all the resistances, but there is a little gap that's literally just air, okay? So I'm anticipating price to kind of grind its way up, those slow 5% up, 3% down, 5% up, 3% down. It's that upwards chop, right? And a lot of people, get fucked, and they get cucked out of all their positions because they're trying to time the market, when honestly, if you're trading chop and you're not experienced and you're not an intraday trader and you're not, maybe you're not even a full-time trader, you're better off getting a good entry and then just holding it, maybe adding on pullbacks. But for the most part, I think this is a solid entry right here around 457. I would average down to 450, and I would probably target around 570. Yeah. So that's how I see Ethereum's price action playing out for the next couple of days, maybe a week. But I hope this video gives you guys some clarity on the setup, the levels that I'm looking at, and how I'm managing this trade. And as always, if you guys have watched to the end of this, I cannot thank you guys enough. Ethereum price is already fucking pumping, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up so that I can upload this and get it out before you guys miss the entry. But thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.